There has long been a mantra in journalism that no story is worth dying for, but there are stories worth taking risks for.
Our guest, Peter Nkanga, took one such risk in showing the world how human rights activist Ahmed Issa, popularly known as Nigeria's ordinary president, delivers populist justice. Now Peter Nkanga himself has become the story, with death threats against his life. Let's take a look at the video that started it all.
Today, human rights campaigner Ahmed Issa captivates Nigeria, administering his own brand of populist justice.
We not forget anything.
This place, they don't collect money from you, and if what you're saying is true, they will definitely help you to get justice. That's why I love this place.
Remove 8,000 naira.
He's known as a friend to the poor and for taking politicians to task on his show.
Thank you very much.
We used to have a government, but Nigeria has gone the backwards of about 50 years.
Even the police, who he constantly berates, seem to love him in return. But is there another side to him?
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the morning show, Peter Nkanga. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can hear us.
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Well, your documentary, Nigeria's Ordinary President, was actually 27 minutes long. However, it's smaller clips of that documentary, namely the clip of Ahmed Issa slapping the woman who was accused, who also on camera admitted to setting the head of her niece alight. That definitely went viral. And as a result, Ahmed Issa is seen to strike the woman 3 times across her face. Thereafter, of course, with the viral nature of that clip spreading around the world, Ahmed Issa was open to a lot of criticism, people calling his actions both heinous and hypocritical, since he seeks to serve as a human rights voice of the people. As it stands now, unfortunately, you're having to speak to us in secrecy, speak to us in some form of hiding because of the blowback from that documentary. So could you first and foremost set the scene of what you think the root cause of your current predicament is? Because ultimately, the 3 of us have watched your documentary and we think it's stellar journalistic work, but it has resulted in you having to go into hiding. So walk us through the process of how we got here.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity, because a lot of what people are doing, including the threats, is coming from a lot of misinformation. And misinformation because most people are just seeing the clip. And when you only have one side of a story, and yet you come to a conclusion, it's biased, it's not right. And so to get a full understanding of it, people need to watch the full film, which is 27 minutes. And how did this all start? I'm a reporter, I'm a journalist, and my job is to to report, to relay news and information, to tell the society that this is who we are, to carry a mirror and reflect the mirror for everyone in the society to see and accept if this is who they want to be, and get information on how to improve ourselves and, be better people. And when this film was conceived, as far back as 2000, the BBC had reached out to Mr. Ahmed Issa to say, look, we've noticed that a lot of people come to you. And in fact, we understand that it's because there's a failure in the justice system that has made citizens to look for alternatives to the solutions instead of going to government institutions like the police, the courts. And over the years, you have been effective in achieving solutions for people, that people now hail you. And, they respect what you do. And BBC said, we want to profile your work. We want to show how do you go about getting your own brand of justice. He said, no problem, come in. And that is how, because of COVID-19, had to be delayed. And in January this year, I was contacted to say, look, Peter, this is what we are going to be working on. Would you be interested in joining the team? That's what the BBC told me. And I said, yeah, because I've done work with Ahmad in the past, and I know that he's effective. I know how, people look up to him and he gets solutions to their problems. So we started, and Ahmad told us when we entered the studio to film, he said, you have free hand to do anything, that you are an independent media, so just do your thing. And we, being professionals and having to be balanced and objective, we're following him, documenting how he goes about delivering his brand of justice. And in the course of documenting all of this, as natural, we came across people, critics, voices who felt that the way Ahmad goes about his way of delivering justice is unethical and is controversial. And in the course of doing the film with Ahmad, while shooting with him, we told him that, look, we are hearing from dissenting voices, from critics, from people who have, negative and ulterior things to what you are doing, but we are going to go ahead with listening to these voices and reflect it in the film, because we have to be balanced and objective. But we're going to give you a right of reply when we have gotten what we wanted, the information, so you can defend yourself to the allegations and accusations. He said yes. And so in the course of the film, this is what happened, that where we are right now, we observe that there are two categories of people who come to the station. And the first category of people are those who form the success story. So you have, those who have their cases heard. And when their cases are heard, Ahmed's effectiveness and intervention leads to resolutions. Like in the film, the case of the 6-year-old girl and the auntie who burnt her head that most people have seen. And that is the first category of people who come to the station. It shows that this is how Ahmad does his job. He's effective, because that little girl wouldn't have gotten the medical attention she got. The perpetrator of the act, the person who burnt her head, probably wouldn't have been arrested. And so that shows that, look, this man, Ahmad, is effective, and this is how he goes about getting his effectiveness. And that is a good story if you look at it from that point of view. It shows how he works. That's the first category of people. There's a second category of people who come to the station, and I'm talking about hundreds of people that come to the station on a daily, in weeks, thousands, and so the second category of people are those who are still waiting for their stories to be heard. And if your story has not been heard, you will see yourself keep coming year in, year out. That's why you have people still coming from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. They come there every day instead of going to the state. But there's also another set of people in that category, too, of people, is those who have had their cases heard maybe once or twice, and they are waiting for follow-ups or interventions or resolutions to their cases. It is only those two categories of people that make up the audience that come to the station. And this is what we're there to document. But now the issue that is leading to this threat, where I am right now, and I've received threats, people calling my numbers, people sending messages on social media that are trolling me, threatening me that I will be lynched to death, that they're going to stone me to death, they're going to kill me, that they know where I live. And the reason why this is happening is because in the course of doing the film, if you watch the full film, you will find out that as I'm speaking to you, there's a community in Anambra State, in Sube, where 8 boys have remained disappeared, have been missing for over 20 years, since November 2000. And these 8 boys who went missing with the involvement of, due to the arrest, a former senator, a former House of Rep member who also became a senator from Anambra, got these 8 boys arrested in 2000, November 2000, on the allegations that they are armed robbers. And one of these boys, 10-year-old boy in school. And this case had remained cold for over 20 years until when the community had courage and boldness to take it up and bring it to the radio station. And Ahmad broadcasted this live on television and radio. And that is what brought back that case to life. So that also shows how effective Ahmad is in doing his job, in how the Human Rights Radio operates. Because Ahmad took up this case from the families of these 8 missing boys. And let's put it into context. The boy that was 10 years old in 2000, by now he will be 30 years old. It is because of his siblings and his contemporaries who were too young 20 years ago to speak about the injustice.
But when we come back, we will hand the floor over to you for you to obviously finish answering your question and then bring in some more questions on top of that. Please do stay with us.
You're watching The Morning Show here on Arise News. Still with us is Peter Nkanga, who's a BBC journalist currently on the run and fearing for his life after his reporting on the human rights activist Ahmed Issa, also known as the Ordinary President and the host of the Berekete family. Peter, I want to ask you, as journalists, we often have to take risks. It's just part of our job. But our employers also have a duty to take care of us, because it's no secret that we're discussing some very sensitive things, and it obviously can be quite dangerous. So tell me, Peter, Is the BBC taking care of you? Are they keeping you safe? Do you feel safe now?
I don't. Obviously, I don't. And the reason why I don't feel safe is because after the film was released on 17th May, Monday, 17th of May this year, the threat started. On 19th, on Wednesday, 2 days after the film was released, Ahmad went on the show and said that he didn't take up that second category of the case, the one of the Anambra case, because he had promised to go to Anambra and investigate it and bring this case to an end, which is documented in the film. He said it live. Only for a few days to go to Anambra, he declined, questionably declined. He's no longer going. And that was in February. So the film came out in May. That's 3 months after. And I didn't receive any threats. Nothing had happened then. When the film came out and I started receiving threats, 2 days after the film came out on Wednesday, Ahmad went to live on air and told people the reason why he did not go to Anambra is because me and the BBC planned to kill him. And that's the reason he gave. And this is what I was trying to hammer on. And I'll still ask a question whether the BBC is handling this. This is what I like to hammer on. The second category of people who go to the station make up the vast majority of this audience. So they are actually waiting for their cases to be heard. Or when their cases get heard, like this Anambra case, they wait indefinitely. Until the film came out in May, Ahmad, who told his audience in February that he's going to Anambra, he didn't tell them that he's no longer going. And the people, the category 2 people that have had their cases heard, are just waiting for one day when they will come and pick them up out of the crowd. And this is also what we discovered while we were at the station. Many people who are at the crowd said that they have been coming, they were even meeting me that, sir, please help us bring back our case. This case was held 2018, but nothing again. We don't know what's going on with that case. So this category 2 of this Anambra case of these 8 missing boys, they didn't even know that Ahmad had abandoned their case, right? It was until when the film came out that they now saw that, oh, they didn't know. And this is where the real danger lies, or what the concern Nigerians should have. That there should be processes that ensure that if people are coming to you or the government institution or anywhere for a solution, that you just don't be left in limbo. If this film didn't come out, people would not know that Ahmad had abandoned the case. And Ahmad wouldn't have given the excuse, the lie that Peter, me, and BBC wanted to kill him. That is the excuse he gave the people 3 months after not going for a case. And he now had to give an excuse for not going for the case. And the excuse he gave is that Peter wanted to kill him. And not only that, he now brought in my family into the picture as well, saying that I tried to entrap him by using my family. And these are lies. But to answer a question about what the BBC is doing, the film came out on Monday 17th. On Wednesday, Ahmad said I tried to kill him. On Thursday, the station, which has millions of viewers around the world, released my phone number live on air that people should call me. On that Thursday, when he released it during the program, I was on an interview with a journalist from Leadership newspaper, and I started on Zoom, and I started receiving uncountable calls to the point I received over 100 calls coming in 1 minute. As I'm picking, I didn't know what was going on. I said, what's going on? Until I received a message from someone saying, Peter, they just announced your number on air. This is totally wrong. They bombarded me, threat messages. The ones I picked were threatening me. I had to switch off that line. I have a second number that Ahmad also knows. Like I said, I've known Ahmad for years, since early 2012, 2013. I've done stuff with him. So the second number, somebody called me again from the UK, and I'm receiving calls from Austria, from UAE, from France, from Spain, from America, from UK, from everywhere, foreign numbers. The second day because he released my number on Thursday, at the week of the film. On the next day, Friday, I got a call again from Thursday night around 11:30 p.m. on my second number. And I recorded that one. And the guy told me that you'll be stoned to death. He told me that for the film, and I said, who is this? This is not me now. Who are you calling? This is not me. That this is the wrong number. He said, no, he read out my number and said, this is your number. Now, don't worry, but in the morning of Friday, I will know what is going to happen to me. Lo and behold, by Friday, when the show kicked off at the Human Rights Radio, I started receiving calls on the second number. It became so unbearing, calls, threats, I had to switch that one off. If you call my number now, it will tell you my voice box is full. That tells you, in Nigeria, many people fill up their voice boxes.
Now, Peter,
to answer your question about the BBC.
Go ahead with your question about the BBC.
Now, the BBC have been aware of my predicament, and I'll be sincere with you. they are not living up to the expectation that I would expect.
All right.
Because
so what steps are you taking at this point that you're saying that they've not lived up to the expectations? What steps have you taken to protect yourself at this point if you're saying that the BBC is not protecting you?
Right now, I've had to have close members of my family live where they are staying. And the reason is because my security man, the cleaners that come to my house, my neighbors, a lot of them are all adherents, followers of this man and his show. So they know my location, and I've received threats that they know my location. So I've had to take responsibility of relocating my own family. And I think that is unacceptable because, I mean, I didn't do this on my own, right? And second thing again that I found unacceptable is that I was never in charge of editorial control of the film. As a reporter, though I had requested to be always involved in frequent, I'm the kind of person that likes to understand issues, understand things, so that I can defend them. I'll have knowledge of that. I was not involved in editorial, and that for me was one. But the most important one is that the civil responsibility, that because the threats are real, the threats are evident. Relocating my family has been an issue that I've been foot dragging, amongst other issues. So when you say have they been taking care of me, they have not done what I believe they should do. I'll stop it at there because for me, that's not even my priority. My priority is myself and my family. If the BBC are not doing what I believe they should do, that is a discussion for another day. But right now, with the developments that are going, especially with the suspension of the station, which is not really my doing, but he has already told his fans that he released my number on air. And I've received calls from around the world with direct threats. They know my location. And it's easy to get me because the people who follow, who are adherents to this show are everyday people. They are people who you meet everywhere, anywhere. When you're walking on the road, my name, my number, my image, my location is known. I was in a place where I walked into an eatery. I saw somebody looking at me and I was like, just keeping my cool. And the person walked up to me and said, BBC? And I was amazed. I was shocked, but I had to just keep my composure. And I had my earphones on my head hands-free. So I just smiled and started having a conversation with myself, like as if I'm on the call, picked up my food and quickly left. Those are the things I'm facing. And you don't know who is actually, social media, they're trolling me. They're receiving threats. So I'm taking my own measures, reaching out to people I know that really are concerned about me and the situation. I'm also importantly asking people to watch the full film and understand that there are two categories of people. The second category of people who are never getting their cases heard for years, or have gotten their cases heard, nothing is following up on them. You don't know whether the station has left those cases or they're taking them off, because they have an avalanche of cases every day, hundreds. And they are doing great work, don't get me wrong. But I think the process in this, it shows that there's a failure in the justice system that's allowing people to look for alternatives, And importantly, the case of those 8 missing boys, they're still missing over 20 years ago. And the person who perpetrated this act lives in the same community with these people. So the people are afraid. So now when they come out of their house, they see a big man in his car, a senator, and with escorts. They're intimidated. The people that have come out to speak now, by virtue of Ahmad abandoning their case, the Anambra case, they are putting those people at risk as well, because they took a great risk to come forward and speak up against the aggressor. And now you've abandoned the case. What happens to them? It's the same thing for whistleblowers. When whistleblowers come up and speak about something that's happening in a particular place, in the company or in an office or in government or anywhere, that whistleblower is putting himself at risk. If you don't give that whistleblower support, anything happens to that whistleblower, what happens? And that's what I'm facing. As I'm going through my own, I'm still thinking of the families that after 20 years, they had the boldness to come forward and speak out against the injustice that happened to that children. 10-year-old boy. The reason they were bold was because Ahmad gave them the assurance that I'm standing with you, so don't go. But now that Ahmad has said he's not doing the case again, claiming that the reason is because I threatened.
All right, Peter, before we let you go,
what happens to those families who are still in the same community?
We only have about 2 minutes left on this segment. Last week, the NBC had imposed a 30-day suspension and a fine on the Barakate Family Show for a clear violation of the broadcasting code. I'd like your reaction to this suspension, since you've had this vast experience with Ahmad Issa. While many Nigerians are of the impression that the show should not be allowed to air any longer, others are saying the suspension is not stiff. What is your reaction to this?
Well, I'll react based on what is happening as it's evolving. I recently saw a press conference by a group to defend this, that it's an attack on the station. I also like to say that people who have only seen the clip that you showed of Ahmad slapping that lady, there are other things that Ahmad has done. For example, so recently, was Ahmad slapped him live on radio, on TV, because he was writing names of people outside the station. So I'm not the government. You know, my job is to show the society that this is who we are, so we can ask for us to improve. It's also about media accountability. We ask our governments to be accountable, we ask lawyers, teachers, doctors to be accountable. We ourselves as the media should be accountable in how we go about our functions. But right now, I'm just thinking of my life, my family, and how to mitigate the threats. They have my name.
Thank you very much, and we hope that you keep yourself protected as always. And it was a pleasure speaking with you today.